Hi, it's me, Egbert, E-G-G-B-U-R-T, the owner of this radio station. I invite everyone to listen, no matter if you're young, old, black, white, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, heck, I even want real estate agents listening to my station. Yes, even Rick and Tracy. You're all welcome. Now, it's back to my Goodwill ambassadors, Brad and John.
By the way, John, I know you're making fun of me behind my back, but my new phone line is actually up and running, and it's actually taking calls, and it's sort of interesting. I have a hiccup there. I'm sorry. I have a new phone number. This is because of the fact that Brad has seen the light, and Brad has become, actually I've become Pastor Brad for 10 years now, but I started my own church called God Squad, and you can go and check it out, godsquad.cloud. We have our own streaming channel, which is up in godsquad.cloud. A couple weeks ago, I started the prayer line, 25 God Squad, if you want us to pray for you. Matter of fact, I prayed last night for Rick and Tracy because they're in their new studios out there in Wentzville, and I know when you move into new studios, there's always little gremlins that get you for a while, so I prayed for Rick and Tracy. But I started the I'm sorry line, and the idea being is that the two hardest words in the English language for most people to come out of their mouth is I'm sorry. So if you dial 557, I'm sorry, just like it sounds, 557, I-M-S-O-R-R-Y, you dial 557, I'm sorry, not Reverend, but Pastor Brad comes on there, talks to you about why it's important to say I'm sorry. You can use it as a practice line, or you can use it as just to get it off your chest. And ultimately, we may turn it into the fact that I may put a little disclaimer on there that said, hey, if this is really good, I'm sorry, we're going to run it on the radio. We may put it on the radio stations, and you can apologize on the air. So 557, I'm sorry. Okay, now.
It's a beautiful thing. And by the way, Brad, I got to correct you. I never make fun of you behind your back. I make fun of you on the air.
Yeah, directly. Okay, so years ago on our other station, on Crap and on Westplex 107.1, the station was a sports station, and we picked up the Mizzou Tigers. And this was not too long after they went into the SEC. And we run the ads on the air for, during the games and things like that. And they're running tons of ads for this chicken strip chain out of the Southeast called Zaxby's. So lo and behold, they build two Zaxby's in Columbia. One of them didn't last long. One of them was gone in like a year and a half. The other one lasted up until, I believe, April? Wasn't that what your text said, that they closed it down in April?
I think recently, yeah.
Okay. And I fell in love with Zaxby's. And one of my favorite things is, unlike John, who goes to Jefferson City almost every other week, sometimes twice a week in certain weeks, but I do business in Jefferson City, and I enjoy going to Jefferson City. I always enjoy my drive down 70, down 54, and then what I do is, my usual ritual is, when I come back to St. Louis, come out of Jefferson City on 63, on 54, take 63 north, come into Columbia, and I stop at Zaxby's. And for some crazy reason, when I went there Friday with my license plate issue, I thought to myself, I wonder if they're still open. So I start looking on a couple different pages, and I see some conflicting information. So I text my old buddy Cosmo, who, by the way, is on Y107 with his wife, Kat, down in Columbia, Jeff City. Super talented guy. Matter of fact, the National Association of Broadcasters Marconi Awards just came out. Not only is his morning show nominated for a national award, the whole station's nominated for a national award. And I text him. I go, hey, Cosmo, what's going on with Zaxby's? And he said the place was closed. So we talked about it on the air. So John sends me these screen captures of, what's the guy's name? Kelton, K-E-L-T-O-N?
Yeah, Kelton Turner, who listens to our show, and he was listening yesterday morning, Brad.
And he says that it sounds like they had a riot at the Zaxby's. Isn't that sort of the way you interpret it?
I don't think it was a riot. I think it was a party, right?
Well, something about the manager got mad, some of the people, and they jumped up on the roof and damaged the roof or something like that?
Okay, well, we can read it then. It said that they had a party because the manager threw a raging party. A rager is a term for like a raging party. Nobody was enraged. Somebody had a raging party.
Okay, I misinterpreted that. I thought that the manager, okay, that's me, the old dude. That is, in other words, go ahead and read it.
Okay, yeah. So this is based on, this is from Kelton Turner. The Zaxby's closed because they fired all the staff. The manager threw a rager, which, as we know now, is a giant party. A rager. People were on the roof, and parts of the building were damaged and vandalized. So they fired the staff, then they operated a skeleton crew for a few weeks, but couldn't find enough people to work. Now, there's also a screenshot that was going around from Facebook in mid-January. So let's get the dates right. That was also in January. There was a post from Zaxby's that says, "Hello all. I am truly very sorry about any negative experiences had at our location. Due to extreme carelessness of the GM, she is now no longer employed with us. We are working hard to get the restaurant back to where it needs to be. We are hiring for all positions now. Please bear with us as we search for a strong, reliable leader." Kelton has also pointed out that this post had been deleted. So Kelton is saying, hey, he can't verify that this is a legit post, but other folks, he says, have had screenshotted the Facebook post and indeed and posted it other places. So in other words, it looked like there was a giant party and there was an argument about who was to blame for the party and who caused the damage, and that led to the downfall of the Zaxby's.
And you know what? I'm still upset. I mean, so in other words, they had a huge party, and it got out of hand, and they damaged the store, and they fired the manager, they fired all the employees. I mean,
and you're right, they were closed for good. You were right, though, Brad. They were closed for good at the end of April.
Oh man, here's the interesting thing. The interesting thing is to me that I don't know. I mean, how do I put this? I mean, I love the place. There's certain restaurants that are like sort of knockoffs of other restaurants, and I don't know which came first. I don't know if Zaxby's came first or Cane's came first, but essentially Zaxby's and Cane's are almost interchangeable. It's the same thing. You go there, you get a number one. It's 3 chicken strips. It's French fries. It's a piece of Texas toast, and it's that orange. I don't know what they call it. You know, that dipping sauce, that orange dipping sauce.
Yeah, the artery clogger.
Right. And you get a soda. Okay, they're pretty much the exact same thing. Well, my druthers. You don't hear that word too much anymore, do you? Druthers.
You don't. It's a good word. It's a good word.
It's sort of like one of my other famous words are words I love is dawdle. You know, I mean, I used to have a teacher.
Oh yeah, stop dawdling.
Yeah, exactly. Matter of fact, at the you're not going to believe me when I tell you this. I'll have to send you a picture of this. At the entrance to the crap transmitter site, I have a sign that says, "Notice: no hunting, no fishing, no dawdling." That's what the sign says. and every once in a while, I'll get someone who will take a picture of that and send it to me and go like, "Pretty funny." And then the sign on
it also say "no pepper," like we used to see it right. At baseball stadiums.
No
Remember
pepper
the no
games.
Pepper signs?
No pepper games, right? And then on the other side of the gate, it says, "Warning: armed guards patrol this facility 3 nights a week." And then in small letters it says, "You have to guess which 3," which I always thought was.
That's funny.
And that's not an original. I saw that sign years ago at a place. I thought, that's pretty funny. Okay.
But you were saying about dawdling.
Okay, saying about dawdling. Okay, what was I saying about dawdling?
Druthers. You were on a druthers thing.
See,
if you had your druthers,
I'd go to Zaxby's every day of the week. I mean, and once again, see, you're going to laugh when I tell you this, okay? A couple months ago, I was in and out of I'll come clean with this. I was in and out of the hospital 2 weeks. 1 week, I went in midnight, and believe it or not, I came out 36 hours later, and one of my family members recently said to me, I shouldn't even talk about this on the air. One of my family members said to me, "How did you get to the hospital that night?" I go, "I drove." "How did you get home from the hospital?" "I drove." And this particular family member said, "You're not supposed to drive for 2 weeks after what happened to you." And I go, I'm fine. So I ended up there the next week. Once again, I'm like 36 hours in and out. Okay. So people make fun of me because of the fact that the way I eat, but ever since I've been in and out of the hospital, I've sort of lost my appetite, and to the point where I'm down to one meal a day. I mean, like I'm sitting here right now, I'm drinking my soda, and I'm not even eating my Little Debbie's. I got a couple boxes of Little Debbie's in the room. I'm not even eating it anymore. And I'll get off the air, and after I edit up the show, I'll drive over to my favorite Schnucks, where the lady makes two bagels, which is sort of a funny story because nobody buys bagels at this store. And I'll maybe buy a bagel, and I'll come back to the station. I'll do my work, and I'll make some sales calls and stuff like that. And typically, I'll eat a meal like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's it. That's all I eat the entire day. Is that weird or what?
No, I think maybe that's you. Maybe that's your body telling you that that you shouldn't force it to eat when it's not ready. And it sounds like you're listening to your body, Brad.
Well, so I used to eat at Cane's, I don't know, maybe twice a month or something like that. I don't think I've been to Cane's probably in 2 or 3 months. And, certain places that I used to enjoy, I had a Domino's pizza the other night, was pretty good. And see, now, here's the problem that I have. I'm such a nerd when it comes to stuff like this. I can tell you which McDonald's has the best French fries and which McDonald's has the worst French fries. They're supposed to all be the same. Is
there divergence between the different ones?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Wow. And why do you think there's a difference? Isn't the whole point of McDonald's that you get the same meal everywhere?
Well, when you become a fast food connoisseur like I am, it depends upon, matter of fact, this is a weird story, but a guy that I was good friends with for a long time started working at McDonald's when he was like 13 or 14, lied about his age. Ultimately, by the time he was 30, he owned several McDonald's and is, a fast food consultant nowadays. He would tell me that he could, and he for one point in time was actually doing consulting work for McDonald's, and he could go in and get a meal at McDonald's, and he could tell exactly what they were doing right and exactly what they were doing wrong. And he could always pick up on the French fries. French fries, they're supposed to change the oil every so often. Some of the French fries are not set up correctly. And like, for example, my son told me this. My son, when he lived in Kansas City, this is my younger son, he worked at Papa John's. And this is actually sort of a funny story, at least it is to me. His manager knew who the secret shoppers were. So they had a code that when they would see these people come into the store, they would say a word. And he told me what it was. I can't remember what it was. It was something bizarre. And everybody in the store knew, oh my God, secret shopper. And this was somebody who was hired by the Papa John's management, entity or whatever. And they made the absolute positive best pizza. It was done exactly.
The best crust, the best perfect toppings. It looked great.
It was done exactly like the corporate guys, if they had if you've ever worked like behind the scenes in fast food, a lot of times they have the things on the wall that show you this is what a good hamburger looks like, and they show you that the pickle should be here and the onion should be over here and that kind of stuff. So he also told me, and I've never heard this before, I can tell you Domino's that I go to, that when I go to them, the pizza is sort of on the rare side if you look at it from a steak. Okay,
that's gross.
There are other Domino's that I go to that the pizza is a little bit too well done. And there are other ones that are pretty much right on the button. My son told me that in one of the things that Papa John's had going for it is that they had a thing where you could order your pizza well done. And I go, how do they do that?
I've seen that, yeah.
Well, but you know how they do it? He told me the story. They have a door. The way most of the pizza places are, it's a conveyor belt system. They make the pizza. They put the pizza on a conveyor belt. It goes through the oven. So in other words, it goes through at an exact speed, an exact temperature. So every single pizza comes out the same way. And it depends upon how the conveyor is set up. It's dialed in and what the temperature is and that kind of stuff. He said on the Papa John's pizza ovens, they have a door in the front. So if you want a well-done pizza, you put it in the conveyor system. When it comes out of the conveyor system, then you open up the door and you put it in the conveyor system so it goes like a third of the way through the conveyor system. So it doesn't go the entire conveyor belt system. It goes like so in other words, when it goes well done, you get like a pass and a third through the oven on the conveyor belt. And that's how they do the well-done pizzas.
See. So it's like 33% more cooking.
Yes, exactly. And he told me that. I go, what? And he goes, yeah, he says, we get requests for that all the time. And I think he says Papa John's is one of the only few places that offers that. And I'm thinking to myself, that's interesting, But anyway, yeah, I can tell the difference. Matter of fact, I could tell, I'm driving back in 44 all the time. My favorite McDonald's used to be the one there at Six Flags. And to the point where service was always good. Food was always very consistent. And unfortunately, I ate there on Sunday, and quite honestly, it was not very good. They've completely redone the place.
It's one in a gas station. I'm quite familiar with it.
Yes, the Moto Mart's in the front side. And what McDonald's is doing is they're rebuilding their restaurants. They're taking out the dining room soda machines. So in other words, you can't get a refill.
We've talked about this on the show before.
Yeah, because I'm going like, okay, whatever. Knock it off. You're going to go bust with somebody who comes in there and fills their cup 2 or 3 times. Okay, the soda probably, it's like I had a friend of mine that worked for Anheuser-Busch, and she used to always tell me the can costs more than the beer. When you think about that,
of course.
You go like, okay, so you're telling me there's more money in the damn can than there is in the beer? Yeah, the can costs more than the beer inside. So
the company that makes those is Ball, by the way.
Right.
Ticker symbol BAL, I believe.
And the same thing with McDonald's. The cup probably costs more than the soda that goes into it. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, when somebody goes up there and in the dining room fills their cup 2 or 3 times, it's not like you're going to have to get a loan. The McDonald's franchise is going to have to get a loan to stay in business because it ain't really hurting them. Now, if you snuck in the back and grabbed a couple beef patties and put it on your single hamburger, that might be a thing because the beef's expensive, but that's not going to happen. So anyway.
Hey, but speaking of munchies and intoxicants, we got a comment on YouTube. And by the way, I am overdue in going through and replying to YouTube comments. But we got a comment from our show the other day when we talked a little bit about those Delta 8 products, Brad.
Yes.
And someone said, it would help to contextualize Delta 8 by explaining the difference between hemp and cannabis. And Brad, last night I saw the hemp industry's lobbyist, Epen Thampy, and I've talked to him over the last week. Do you think we might be able to have Epen on sometime now that the primaries are over for one segment to smarten us up a little bit about the difference between all these intoxicants? Why is a Delta 8 different than a regular THC 9 or a Delta 9? And why should, as he's a lobbyist for the hemp industry, why should convenience stores be able to sell these products? Do you think folks might be interested in hearing that?
Well, I think I would, and I think it would be interesting because of the fact that it's in the news a lot. And not only that, remember there used to be the thing called K2? Wasn't there another thing?
Boy, Brad, I haven't thought of K2 in a long time. Thanks for taking me back. Now, wasn't that weren't you supposed to smoke that?
Yeah, but the problem there was that I don't know what the deal of that was. There were a couple convenience stores that got shut down in St. Charles County that were selling K2, and it was the same kind of thing. They raided them. I don't know what the whole deal is. It gets very complicated. Okay, the only problem is, isn't he the guy that already does a talk show? Doesn't he do a talk show somewhere?
No.
He doesn't. Okay, so who's the guy that does the talk show that you talk about all the time?
Mark Reardon.
No, not Mark Reardon.
Mike Elam.
No. He's someplace down in Cape or something like that. He used to be on the air, but now he does an internet only talk show. Who's that? He's got
Austin Peterson.
Is that Austin Peterson? Okay.
Who is broadcasting right now from the Missouri Times studios? Yeah, Austin does his show in that same studio where you saw Scott and I. Austin Peterson does his show from 7 to 9 a.m. He rents that out from Scott.
Does he really? Does he do the video on it too?
Yeah.
Does he have a lot of listeners to it?
I don't know. I mean, I know that Camelia Peterson is on twice a week. She's on Tuesday and Thursdays. I think Austin has a really robust first of all, viewership and membership. I contribute to Austin every month. You can join Peterson's Patriots for a small monthly fee and support his operation, which I happen to do. And I think it's pretty successful.
Okay, so you're telling me that Austin has his wife on twice a week? Is that what you're telling me?
I am not, because it's spelled differently. And Austin and his wife, Steffi, just had a baby within the last month, too. So congratulations to them. I will reach out to Epen and see maybe we could have him on maybe tomorrow or Friday for one segment, Brad, to smarten us up about these products.
And maybe he could talk about K2.
Maybe he could, and remember Kratom? What the hell is a Kratom?
Well, they're still around as well, too. I see those stores all over the place.
I have no idea. I'm guessing that's something that you buy in a baggie and gets you high. I don't know.
You know what I do to get high? I got it sitting right here.
You go to Zaxby's and you inhale their lemon pepper scent.
Spice drops, John. Spice drops. 2 words. Spice drops. I'm telling you.
I've never heard of those. What are they?
You've never had spice drops before?
No. Is that where Baby Spice sits atop you? Well, I don't know. We probably shouldn't go into that. I was more of a Posh Spice guy, but it depends on the era of your life.
You've never had spice drops before?
For the 4th time, no. Hey, Brad, did you see Red Hot Riplets yesterday on the show?
John,
I'm serious. Did you see Scott present me with a bag of Red Hot Riplets?
No, I did not. I did not.
He talked about you on the show. Well, you should watch it. It's a pretty decent live stream. I don't care if you watch it or not. But he talked about Brad Hildebrand and he talked about Red Hot Riplets.
Poor guy. Say goodbye, John.
See you guys tomorrow.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's Combest, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?